Hello everyone, welcome back. I am Mr. Cobalt, and in this video I will be going over the third and last problem involving using chemical formulas as conversion factors. So once again, I have my superhighway on the board. This is going to be helpful for the problem. Again, we have a simpler problem in the sense of there's not a lot of words. It's pretty straightforward. It's just a question. And so remember, the question will tell you where to begin and where to end. And the first part of the question is the ending of the problem. So how many grams of carbon are present? So stop there. So how many grams of carbon are present? So we want to find grams of carbon. So if I draw my arrow, we are going to want to get to a certain number of grams of carbon. But where are we going to start? We got to keep reading the problem. How many grams of carbon are present within a lighter, like one of the lighters that you light your cigarettes with, containing 5.25 milliliters of butane? So this is where we got to begin. We got 5.25 milliliters of butane, and we want to get to grams of carbon. So we're going to start with the butane. So we have 5.25 milliliters of butane, and for butane, the formula for butane is C4H10. So we'll just do C4H10, and I'll write that here too. So C4H10. So that's our butane, and so I'm going to put that over 1. And so we've got milliliters. To use our highway, we need to get on the highway somehow. So if we could get to grams, then that would be a good start. Or maybe if we got to moles. But it looks like we'll probably get to grams because look at what they gave us. They gave us the density of butane. So that means the density of butane is 0.601 grams per milliliter. So that means that for every 1 milliliter, so for every 0.601 grams of the butane is going to equal 1 milliliter of the butane. So we have a relationship between milliliters and grams. So we have milliliters, so we can use this to convert to grams. And once we're on grams, we're on the superhighway. So now we can use the roadmap to get to where we're asked to go, which is grams of carbon. So we're going from milliliters of A, right, to grams of A, and then we have to get to grams of B, which is carbon. So let's do this. So we're going to set up our conversion factor. So again, density is a great conversion factor, so be aware of that. So we have 1 milliliter. So we're going to put 1 milliliter of the butane, C4H10, on the bottom to cancel out. And then we're going to put grams of the butane, 0.601 grams of the butane on top. So C4H10. Okay, so now the milliliters are going to cancel out. And now we have grams. Now we're on the highway. So now we're going to follow the roadmap. We want to get from grams of our butane to grams of carbon. So the first step is to go from grams to moles using our molar mass. So we calculate the molar mass of butane. So let's calculate that out. And the mass is, or the molar mass is going to be 50, and I'll write it up here, 58.124 grams for every 1 mole per mole. So we can use that as a conversion factor. So we have grams on the top, so we want grams on the bottom. So we're going to take 58.124 grams of C4H10. H10, and then 1 mole of C4H10 butane on the top. Our grams of butane cancel out, and now we have moles of butane. So now we're at moles of butane. So to go from moles of butane to moles of carbon, we got to use the mole ratio. And so now we're going to go to the formula. So for every 1 molecule of butane, we have 4 atoms of carbon. So the ratio is 1 to 4. So that means it's the same ratio for moles. So for every 1 mole of the whole, 1 mole of the compound, we have 4 moles of carbon. So we're going to use that. So that's our mole ratio. So we have moles of butane on the bottom, on the top. So we're going to put moles on the bottom, moles of butane. So 1 mole of butane, C4H10. And then we're going to put 4 moles of carbon on top. So the moles of butane cancel out. Now we have moles of carbon. So now we're here on our roadmap. One last step. We got to go from moles of B to grams of B using the molar mass. So we're going to use the molar mass of carbon to convert from moles of carbon to grams of carbon, and then we'll be done. So one last conversion. So we got to use the molar mass of carbon, which is 12.011. So 1 mole of carbon on the bottom to cancel out, and 12.011 grams of carbon on top. Moles of carbon cancel out. I'm left with grams of carbon on the top. I am done because that is where I need to end, because they're asking me for grams of carbon. So now at this point, it's just calculation. So now all I have to do is just multiply across the top and divide by the bottom. So I have 5.25 times 0.601 times 4 times 12.011, and I'm going to divide now by 58.124, and the rest are ones, so I hit equals, and I get an answer of 2.608059, and we have grams of carbon. Now, I cannot keep all of these, so I need to figure out what's the sig figs I'm allowed. So I go to the numbers that I multiplied and divided by, and I get rid of and I ignore anything that's exact. So this is a measure, so that's the molar mass, so I got to keep that. The 1 to 4 ratio is an exact measure, so I can ignore that. This is molar mass, so that's going to be a measure. This is a measure that I was given, that's the density. And then this is what I was given as a number of milliliters, so I'll keep that. So now I got to figure out what the least number of sig figs are. So I have 5 here, I have 5 here, I have 3 here, and I have 3 here. So the least number is 3, so I'm only allowed 3. So 1, 2, 3. So I'm going to cut it off after the 0. This is an 8, so I round that to a 1. So this is going to be 2.61 grams of carbon. So that is the answer to this problem. And again, a lot of times you're going to be in these problems, you're going to be using a combination of conversion factors that are very popular, one being the mole ratio, the other being molar mass. And you use them together to solve a lot of problems. That's why this is a very useful roadmap. So please commit it to memory and use it very often. I hope this was helpful. If you like this video, like it, share it with your friends, subscribe to the channel, and make a comment in the comment section, so that way you can tell me what you think. If you have any questions, I can try to answer those in another video as well, or answer you in the comments. Make sure you hit the notification bell, and so you get notified by any new videos I put out. Thank you for joining me, and I'll see you next time.